This is blasphemy. This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
Everyone loves to see their favourite heroes or even villains flexing, and I don't mean the Andrew Tate way. I'm talking about characters who are so badass that they literally don't even have the time to bleed, contrary to what Batman would like to believe.
Forgiveness is between them and God. It's my job to arrange the meeting.
These are characters that are so into the quest for dominance that they live and breathe the flexing hustle. So I'm here with volume 2 of my top 10 most badass flexes in the movies.
I'm thinking I'm back, so you can either hand over your son, or you can die screaming alongside!
Apparently, even seasoned players seem to ignore the fact that they shouldn't mess with John Wick. Viggo Tarasov might be the head of a Russian mafia gang, but come on bro, did you really think that kidnapping the deadliest assassin in the world was your best bet? Anyway, Viggo tries to act tough in front of badass Keanu Reeves,
Baba Yaga.
but we all know he doesn't give two damns about a measly threat now, does he? As a matter of fact, John Wick decides to make it a little more dramatic by declaring,
I'm thinking I'm back,
and makes his own threat when he says,
so you can either hand over your son, or you can die screaming alongside!
This kind of reminded me of that Walter White scene where he declares,
I am the one who knocks.
Of course, you wouldn't expect a Russian figure of authority to understand the consequences of their actions now, but we should still thank Viggo for being ignorant because we got a pretty damn good movie out of it.
John will come for you. And you will do nothing because you can do nothing. So get the f*** out of my sight.
Odds don't hit back.
When you're dealing with a legendary fighter like Bruce Lee, then you've got to be on top of your game. However, this weirdo tries to act cool by smashing a board in front of his face. Man, that's probably even worse than bringing a knife to a gunfight. Of course, the dude doesn't know that he's essentially asked for a free lesson in Embarrassment 101, and Bruce decides to give him a few words of advice when he says,
Odds don't hit back.
He doubles down on it by instantly smacking the dude down with a single punch. This sequence kind of repeats itself again and again, with Bruce remaining the undisputed winner. See, this is how you spit facts. Drake should take some inspiration here because let's face it, most of the bars on Her Loss just made me want to scream, stop the cap.
She just killed a helicopter with a car.
How's our bullets?
The Die Hard franchise was one that started out pretty strong, but somewhat fizzled out towards the end, kind of like Bruce Willis and his hairline. Regardless, we still got to witness a few gems in Die Hard 4.0, and one scene that stands out in particular is when John McClane takes down a freaking helicopter with a police car. Yes, you heard that right. It's a pretty simple scene as he basically just hops out of the car after setting it on a collision course with the helicopter. I'm not too sure Arnold Schwarzenegger would have appreciated that. I mean, he kind of loves choppers, right? Anyway, it's as good of an action scene as you'll ever watch, and even Matt couldn't believe his eyes as he tells John, you just killed a helicopter with a car. Now that might be stating the obvious, but you know what John says?
How's our bullets?
See, now that's how you accomplish your missions, no excuses. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk must be using this as inspiration for all his Twitter employees, eh?
How about yippee-ki-yay?
You shot yourself.
This seemed like a good idea at the time. Don't tell these guys.
Thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends, stolen forth from Holy Writ, and seem a saint when most I play the devil.
Anyone who's watched V for Vendetta would definitely be able to relate to the UK's current situation, from an economic standpoint that is. Now, V is pretty much the poster boy when it comes to rebelling against unfair governments, but did you know that he's also a hardcore philosopher? I mean, it does make sense given his ideologies and vision, but his scene with the evil bishop is what really takes the cake for me. The game is up and V is about to declare victory, so the masked anti-hero makes quick work of Bishop while saying,
Thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends, stolen forth from Holy Writ, and seem a saint when most I play the devil.
I didn't even understand most of what I just said there when I first saw this movie, and it still sent shivers down my spine. It's just something about the way he delivers his lines. The villain tries one last mode of defense, but V snaps his arm and taunts him by saying,
Oh, not tonight, Bishop. Not tonight.
now that's how you take down an oppressor.
Beneath this mask there is an idea, Mr. Creedy. And ideas are bulletproof.
Lord of the Rings might be having a hard time right now, given the whole Rings of Power fiasco, but don't worry, Jeff Bezos can't hurt you anymore. I'm here to remind you of the movies that actually respect J.R.R. Tolkien's epic source material. The scene in question is from Return of the King, where Nazgul dominates his battle against Eowyn and is about to land his finishing move. Of course, the villain has to look cool while doing this, so he taunts her by saying,
Fool, no man can kill me.
That's when the blonde knight gets some added assistance and reveals herself to be a woman. She says,
I am no man.
and kills the faceless villain once and for all. But I gotta say, the scene does get a little giggle out of me because I can totally see some middle-aged man using this as a dad joke. Maybe Leonardo DiCaprio can use this as an opener whenever he tries to flirt with anyone under 25.
You have some skill with a blade.
I fear neither death nor pain.
What do you fear, my lady?
A cage.
Hasta la vista, baby.
The Terminator is one of those rare cases where he didn't die a villain and actually lived long enough to see himself become the hero. Take that, Harvey Dent. Terminator 2 is also one of the few living examples of a sequel that could be considered to be better than the OG film. That's primarily because we get to see Arnold Schwarzenegger kick some robot butt, and this time he even learned some slang from John Connor.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I'm not too sure his mommy would appreciate that kind of language, but quite frankly speaking, they've all got bigger problems to worry about, more specifically the T-1000. Luckily, Mr. Terminator is a quick learner and he delivers the epic line,
Hasta la vista, baby.
when he shoots the evil android after freezing him. That delivery is so legendary that it's been parodied countless times, and it's also somewhat cheesy, so I'm pretty sure Arnold carried that energy into playing Mr. Freeze.
Let's kick some ice.
En la iglesia dicen que hay que perdonar.
Forgiveness is between them and God. It's my job to arrange the meeting.
Denzel Washington has become a staple name in everything badass, so he was obviously going to make an appearance in my top 5. This scene's from Man of Fire, which a lot of newer fans might not be aware of. The scene in question is when Denzel has to invade an old couple's home so that he can use it as a firing zone for a target. The grandma and granddad seem to be nice folks, and they even ask the assassin to show some sympathy for his victim. Well, guess what our man says?
Forgiveness is between them and God. It's my job to arrange the meeting.
That's smoother than a Michael Jackson moonwalk. Why aren't they making more films with Denzel in them? He'd easily outshine all these newbies with ease.
I wish you had more time.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Okay, this one's for all the old school cinephiles. The Princess Bride film was a nice blend of comedy and drama, which is something Netflix writers should really take note of. I mean, there's only so much romance you can show in Bridgerton, right? Inigo finds himself as a prisoner under Count Rugen, and it seems like he's going to get the sharp end of the stick, but then he pulls an Uno reverse on the villain and starts dominating their sword fight. Now, I don't know if this was a gag, or if the director didn't want to give the actor more lines, but he keeps saying,
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Stop saying that!
No, seriously, check it out. That's literally all he says. Alright, he does change it up a little bit in the end when he kills the evil count, but honestly speaking, I just loved how badass they made this look. You just can't be a classic now, can you?
Offer me everything I ask for.
Anything you want.
I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
Before Zack Snyder gave us the DC Universe, or even the Watchmen, he was well known for directing the historical epic 300. Now, to be fair, the movie hasn't aged like fine wine, but hey, at least we got to see Cersei as a nice queen before she shifted to Game of Thrones. 300 is primarily known for its awesome battle scenes, and the use of slow motion in the war sequences were as good as any 2000s film could get. Of course, whenever anyone brings out the name of this movie, the only dialogue that comes to mind is,
This is Sparta!
The time King Leonidas made the legendary comment is when he kicks his evil messenger into the pit of death. The line in itself, I mean, is pretty basic, but if you look at the build-up towards it and the epic speech Leonidas gives before kicking the Persian, you'll definitely feel some goosebumps. Sadly, you could say that the messenger falling into the pit was somewhat similar to Gerard Butler's career trajectory.
Spartans! What is your profession? Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. But tonight, we dine in hell!
Go back to the shadow. You shall not pass!
Now, let me give you some advice. One does not simply become so epic. This is why Gandalf will always remain in the hearts of Lord of the Rings fans as one of the best characters to have ever been created. We all know what scene I'm talking about here. It's the battle against Balrog on the Khazad-dûm. Frodo and the team are in a bit of a situation as the flaming demon closes in on them, but Gandalf ain't having any of it, so he stands up to the beast and openly orders the line,
You shall not pass!
Sir Ian McKellen makes it sound even more epic with his awesome delivery, and it shows how he could play another legendary character like Magneto with such flair and sass. There's not much else I can say, because such a moment can only be experienced rather than explained.
Fly, you fools!
So, what did you think of my sequel? Like, share and subscribe if you agree